two college graduates are getting ready to go on a road trip.
This is our food for the road. When you get something this small, everything has a place, right? That's right.
And though they are loaded with food, they plan on hitting some restaurants along the way.
Ask whoever's at the back door. Don't even bother the manager and just say, "Can I take your grease?" And this is your liquid gold right here.
And what would get a couple of guys so geeked about grease?
There you go, let's fill her up. This has already been used to cook somebody's food, and it's gonna go in a dumpster. So hey, we're using it to travel. I think that's awesome.
Phil Gravy and Aaron Kroll are both biology majors who recently graduated from Gustavus Adolphus College.
All right, where are we going?
It was Phil's brother Matt who was the first to suggest converting a car to run on vegetable oil.
After a while, it started to sound like a pretty cool idea, and he's like, yeah, eventually you're going to inherit it. And I was like, cool. And then Aaron and I started talking, and we're like, yeah, it'd be cool to do a cross-country road trip if we could ever get this thing running.
Oh, they got it running all right, and now this 1981 Volkswagen pickup, dubbed the Crisco Kid, is cooking with not gas, but grease.
We need a fuel selector, this black part right here, to select between two different fuel lines.
Diesel or?
Diesel or vegetable oil.
Gotcha.
The basic idea is you have to start it on regular diesel or biodiesel if you can find biodiesel. And then once you get the engine hot enough to warm up the vegetable oil, then you can flip a switch and change to your vegetable oil tank. And then you're running on the grease from the fryer fat.
The plan is to take 2 months getting to the West Coast, maybe Mexico, and back. They'll travel back roads as much as possible, a consideration that's as much practical as romantic.
I think we'd like to do that as much as possible for the reasons of just seeing America that's not right off of the highway, that doesn't have tons of fast food chains right there, and also for the reason of it doesn't go much faster than 60, 65 miles an hour. We don't want people honking at us on the highway. All right, Utah. Oh.
So the next time you're munching on a French fry, think of the Crisco Kids and their excellent adventure. Proof positive that it's really not about the destination, but how you get there.
We're not mechanics. We weren't the first to do this, that average people can make a conversion like this, and in a system, when everything's running on gasoline or diesel, that you can try something different with your already existing car and break out of that fossil fuel system just a little bit.
Godspeed, Crisco Kids. Aren't they cool? There they go. And we'll check back in with them to see how their adventure was, the adventure on vegetable oil. Wow. Speaking of adventure, our photographer on the Environmental Journal, the intrepid Irv, who's always behind the camera, you don't see him much, he's up for any adventure, and sometimes when we're shooting those stories, he has to sacrifice life and limb and get into some pretty tight spots, as in the case in that Volkswagen pickup. Yeah, take a look at this. There is Irv. That's where he had to position himself to get those great shots from inside of the car. And now, here was us getting Irv, or really Irv getting himself out of the back of the Volkswagen. And as you could see, he was kind of wedged in there, and he wriggled and wiggled, and finally he frees himself from the back of the Volkswagen. Thanks, Irv. I appreciate all your effort. You do a great job. Well, let's move from one cooking product, vegetable oil, to another. Flour, because we are at the Mill City Museum in downtown Minneapolis that recently opened, and you can come here and learn all about the history of milling in this fair city. This place closed in 1965, the year of my birth, so I need to learn a little history of this place. And here to talk to us about what else you can do here is Martha Jarovic. Hi, Martha, how are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
I'm good. What are we supposed to learn here at the Mill City Museum?
Well, really it's the story of Minneapolis and how it formed by the significance of St. Anthony Falls, but how it's also a regional story. How the flour from the Dakotas in Canada came to this region and really helped create Minneapolis to be the flour milling capital of the world.
Looks like there's some hands-on activities for young and old alike here.
Oh yes, many activities. Seniors enjoy it all the way down to kindergartners. We have many hands-on things in the water lab and in the baking lab.
And then there is also a theater, and a theater like no other. I just had the experience. Tell me about the Flower Tower.
The Flower Tower ride is wonderful. It's very unique. It is an 8th-floor multimedia show that incorporates oral history, video, sound, and music. And it's actually a freight elevator that you sit on and ride on, and goes up and down, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of part theater, part ride, thrill attraction, right?
Yes, a little bit of everything. So.
And I don't want to give away the whole thing, but it can get a little frightening.
Yes, we have butt kickers in the seat to create a little action, and then shows a little bit of the accidents that could happen while working in a mill.
I'm still a little shaky from that, but I'm going to try and keep it together. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Martha.
Thank you so much.
I need to keep it together because we've got much more Environmental Journal for you, so stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, coming up on the show, do you have what it takes to be a Minnesota Rover? We'll tell you all about this really cool club. And later, love Environmental Journal style. Single volunteers looking to pick up.
I'm Andy Stewart with the Rattlesnake Wranglers. This is a western diamondback rattlesnake, and you're watching the Environmental Journal.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Environmental Journal. We are kicking it today in the Mill City Museum. We're having some fun right now in the Water Lab, which is brought to you by Great River Energy here at the Mill City Museum, where you can learn all about the history of milling, and in this case, the importance of and the relationship between the mill and the Mississippi River, which is right out back. Here in the Water Lab, we can learn how the mill was powered by the water. In fact, I'll open the floodgates here and see how I start turning my water wheel. That created the power that powered the mill. But then after a while, they came up with some better technology. There was a better way, and it was with a turbine. And this demonstrates the awesome force of a turbine. Watch what happens when I stop up the water and increase my water level. And then when I let it go, watch what it's going to do to my turbine right here. Yes, that made the water wheel obsolete, and that's how they powered the mill. This is the kind of thing that you can learn here at the Mill City Museum. Or, you don't mind, do you? If I just, yeah, thanks, buddy. Well, sorry about that. That'll dry. Hey, let's share another feature with you. This is a real fun one, especially for those of you who like to get outside, but don't necessarily like to do it alone.
What brings you out here?
Nature.
Nature, outside.
Yeah.
So,
Get outdoors.
Nature has a funny way of doing that to a person. Bring them outdoors. The Minnesota Rovers Outing Club has been bringing people out and together for almost 50 years.
We're really roughing it today.
This is the annual fall extravaganza at Jay Cook State Park near Duluth. A great chance for folks to see what this club is all about.
A friend of mine actually kind of suggested it because he knows I like to do hiking and stuff, and said, well, you should, being as you do a lot of stuff in Minnesota, you know, you should try out this group and see what they're like. And so this is kind of my first event.
And the Minnesota Rovers do not discriminate. In fact, they are only too happy to have outsiders.
Well, I grew up in a big city in Chicago, and I actually moved to Portland, Oregon, and got into the outdoors out there. So when I moved here, I wanted to get into the same action. I wanted to get into like the hiking, the biking, the canoeing, and that's what we do.
Our mission is to be environmentally conscious when we're out doing the different activities, and also make our trips inexpensive as possible, because the trips are led by members.
I've colored laminated maps because I got kind of bored at work.
Why go it alone when you can go in a group?
Oh, it's just more fun. And the fresh air just makes people kind of wild, wacky. Who wants to do it alone? You can point out birds and enjoy the experience together.
It costs $25 a year to be a rover. That gets you access to some club equipment and lots of environmental experience.
Beautiful, you got the ledge.
And nothing brings people together better than a good belay.
They are good belayers and they are good friends. So you always meet new people and get to know different kind of people.
Get all cozy, you're rovers now.
So, if you can picture yourself sharing a love for the outdoors, well, the Minnesota Rovers Outing Club wants you in. Just don't forget to have some fun.
I don't know, I really like hanging out with everybody, and everyone just seems to like the same thing, and we just have a blast together. So. Did you see that?
That was the Minnesota Rovers Outing Club Fall Extravaganza. Looked like a lot of fun. And that club isn't just about outdoor activity. They also give back to the outdoors that they love so much. In fact, they built a trail. It's the Border Route Trail. It's 65 miles along the Minnesota-Canadian border, and they maintain that trail now. That's one of the activities they do as a group. And they also adopted part of a highway, and they get out a couple times a year and clean up that. So conservation is also a big part of what that club is all about. And if you want more information about them, here's a website for you, mnrovers.org. Here at Mills City Museum, let's have a little recycling moment for you. This right here, this statue, from reclaimed wood from the building next door, the Humboldt Mill. Isn't that neat? Yes, it's reclaimed. You can even see where the bolts were. And now it's this farmer statue hanging out. How you doing? He doesn't say much. Well, we just had a story about some folks who share a love of the outdoors. Now, how about a story about folks getting outdoors looking for love? They've got their gear. They're wearing their uniforms. It's now time to get to work.
Okay, today we are going to be doing the cleanup on the road.
These volunteers love helping out.
I've joined about 3 years ago.
You meet a ton of people and you're doing a good thing.
And in the process of helping out, they hope they'll find love.
It's a good place to not only meet new friends, but, you know, possibly something more.
Single Volunteers of the Twin Cities, or SVTC, is part of a national nonprofit organization. With over 3,000 members, SVTC is a group of Twin Cities singles who enjoy doing something positive for their community and possibly positive for their love life.
Lots of people have kind of done their time in SVTC and then they've kind of married and moved on.
Doing their time involves participating in all sorts of service activities, like today's Adopt a Highway cleanup in Maple Grove. This event, like most, has a fairly equal number of men and women volunteers. Get the idea?
It's a dating service. It doesn't cost anything, and it puts you in touch with people that are like-minded.
Today's group is like-minded in their desire to help clean up their community. And with SVTC having so many volunteer opportunities, well, it's a very convenient way to help out.
It's by far the best way I've found for volunteering.
And who knows, maybe picking up someone else's trash could lead these single volunteers to finding their own treasure.
You know, I'm still single, but you know, the kind of people that join Single Volunteers are probably the kind of women that I'd like to date, so you know, I think the prospects are good.
Don't you just love a good love story, and especially one about folks who love the environment so much? Single Volunteers, Twin Cities, and in their 5-year history here in the Twin Cities, 25, count them, 25 marriages. That's not bad. Hey, we're going to have more Environmental Journal coming to you from the Mills City Museum. Could you pass the bread? Yeah, no, the whole plate. Yeah, I'm kind of hungry. Thank you very much. Did you want a piece? No? Okay, we'll be right back. Oh, butter. Good. We've got some butter, too.
We're proud.
Hey, strap in and stick around, because when we come back, the show is really going to take off.